Venezia. We are so happy to be here this afternoon to virtually open the Grenada Pavilion at the 17th International Biennale de Venezia. Our pavilion is entitled Co-ethos, and our main participant who has captured this feeling of living together is Bryan Bullen. Another of our participants this afternoon is our communications specialist, Asher Maines. He is a professor at St. George's University in Grenada. And this past year, he has given over 250 lectures on Zoom. So he knows what to do, and we're really happy for that. Along with us as well is Irina Kostka, who is an architect and has been a collaborator with Bryan. And finally, we have Dr. Angus Friday, who has been Grenada's ambassador to the United States and ambassador to the United Nations. So we are very happy to welcome you, to just give you a little glimpse of the project that is opening in Venice. We wish that we were all there to welcome you, but we cannot be. We are very thankful to those who have set up the pavilion, who've done the physical work and the labor, headed by Luisa Flora and by our curators in Venice, Babau Bureau. And we'll hear from them in a little while. In 2004, Hurricane Ivan destroyed the Parliament building. Through a competitive process, Bryan Bullen was the architect chosen to design a new House of Parliament for Grenada. So let's start right off. Bryan, tell us about the Grenada House of Parliament that was only officially opened in 2018. Bryan, go ahead.
Well, first of all, it was an amazing accomplishment to be able to have this building built. It was a very complex building, but at the same time, I think it was quite rewarding. The Grenada House of Parliament, it's a building that, in many ways, reflects on history, and it takes its cues from also the local context. So what we've done is we have many elements that we've used. For example, we've introduced, the boat building technology, which is, we have a history of boat building from our sister island of Carriacou. We've used other tectonic references, to peristyles, which reflects on temples of antiquity. Overall, I guess the sort of big idea came from or inspired by the traditional or the original buildings, which were forts of St. George's. Now the forts, we have several forts which overlook the capital town of St. George's. And so it made sense in terms of, having this iconography embedded within the making of the building. Now, the building is significant, as I say, firstly for its inspiration, from St. George's. Also, in terms of looking at architecture in the Caribbean and the way that we're building, the building incorporates a lot of, for example, green technology. We live in the tropics, and so designing buildings which, make sense, where, for example, a lot of the building, a good percentage of the building is open air. So in essence, what we were reflecting on is, the veranda space, for example, where it's covered space, protected, but it's unconditioned. So a lot of the circulation is public circulation is open air. And I think from what I gather, it's been well received. Certainly, you know, from the aspect of you know, its function for Parliament. You know, there are a lot of sort of intricate parts of, you know, the making of that space itself. For instance, you know, the acoustics was also very important in there. So, you know, in terms of how we constructed the walls so that you know, we can allow for you know, good sound transmission. We have also a ceiling sculpture which also plays part of that. Yeah, so the building itself, so they say, it's what's interesting for me is that it's, you know, it's grounded in history, but also, you know, we've introduced a lot of, you know, green technology as well, which makes sense. You know, we have double low E glazing. You know, we have a water collection system. You know, a number of things that, in terms of our use of green technology. Now, in terms of our overall presentation, let me say that we've done for the Biennale, it's really twofold. There are two parts. What we've done is we've done a film which describes the making of Parliament, but in essence, the overall idea really is looking at the revitalization of St. George's. Now, the second part of our presentation really describes a promenade for the town. Now, the town of St. George's, as we all know, I mean, it's a wonderful town. It's a historical town. We have great Georgian buildings. But as we all know, it has been for many years been in disrepair. I mean, the urban fabric has eroded tremendously. So what we've designed really is a promenade, and it does a few things. I mean, first of all, I mean, in terms of, you know, dealing with the upgrades for things like stormwater management, you know, coastal protection, is really one function. The second function would be to provide, you know, public space. So what it does is you know, the town has lost public space over the years. For example, the market square used to be a space for, you know, civic gatherings. However, it can no longer function as that, because it has been built upon. So in essence, this second, you know, project that we're displaying, it's really looking at, you know, a way that we can kind of breathe life back into the town, you know, and create a better urban experience for people who use the town.
I would like Irina to jump in here and talk about her experience as an architect with the Carénage. This is the area in the town that's the inner harbor, the Carénage, and it's an old French word. The word actually means that's the place where they brought the boats back in the day and would scrape the barnacles, turn the boats on their sides and scrape the barnacles off the boats. But for us, Carénage, it really refers to that inner harbor of the town. So I'll let Irina just talk a little bit about her interest in it.
Thank you, Susan. I actually based my university thesis on the Carénage, well, the town of St. George's, and then looking more intricately at the Carénage. This is almost 8 years ago. And I still wish that what was developed throughout the thesis could happen. And hopefully with Bryan's design, it could be the start of something. So what I did was just look at the town of St. George's. And as Bryan mentioned, you know, the town is disintegrating, basically. A lot of buildings are unused because businesses are moving away from St. George's for various reasons. The Carénage itself used to be quite vibrant when the cruise ship terminal was at the tip of the Carénage. So tourists would, from the cruise ships, would be offloaded, I'd say, right at the one end of the carronage, and they'd slowly walk around the entire carronage to get into the main part of St. George's. And as a result, during that time, we had restaurants lining the carronage. It was a beautiful, experience. It was lively and vibrant. And despite there being things like hardware stores and, supermarkets that are not as interesting as restaurants and bars, it was still very lively. Now, with the cruise ship terminal being moved to another area of St. George's, the carronage just simply died. And with the lack of public space, especially in our climate where it gets really hot. So if there isn't any covered public space, no one's gonna dwell in an area. And where there are no people, there's no business. The economy won't thrive. So that's what I looked at during my thesis, is sort of in revitalizing the carronage. And as Bryan stated, in creating a promenade and in looking at ways in which the area could be revitalized through the addition of public spaces, basically, and also activities that would serve the general public. So looking at maybe a house of art, or a house of dance and music, and really getting the public, the Grenadian public, and not just focusing on tourism, but bringing Grenadians into that space so that businesses would thrive and there would be an intermingling of Grenadians and tourists alike.
So, Dr. Friday, you have been behind the scenes in all of this for a very long time. I mean, I remember meeting you almost 20 years ago when you were first working as an advisor to the Grenada Tourism Authority. And even then we were talking about the effects of modernization and so on the carronage. But I would like you to just give us some input as to your thoughts about what the possibilities are for this kind of project that Bryan has conceived.
Well, thank you, Susan. And I think it's important to reflect on this sort of historic value of the carronage. Grenada is also called the Spice Island, and the carronage and all of the maritime activities we had there, effectively this was a spice trading hub, if you will. So that's then reflected in the Georgian architecture, the warehousing, the administrative buildings, and so that you found around the carronage. And as both Bryan and Irina alluded to, a lot of that's been lost in terms of the vibrancy and businesses moving out. More recently, we've been involved with efforts to look at the carronage from two perspectives. One is a blue economy perspective, looking at it in terms of tourism, fisheries, yachting, and a whole range of economic subsectors related to the ocean. So that's one area. More recently, together with the Green Climate Fund and under the leadership of our Environment Minister, we looked at the carronage from the perspective of climate resilience with rising sea levels. How do we protect and improve upon the carronage? So a lot of work's been done, in that area, and more recently, working with a group of people, particularly in the sustainability space, is to look at how we can make the carronage a hub of creativity and innovation around sustainable industries. And I think this speaks very much to the great work that Irina has done, looking at the carronage as a location for culture. And of course, Bryan's recent work with particular focus on the library areas, an area of knowledge exchange and innovation. So we very much welcome the work of Irina, of Bryan, and others who are looking to make this a reality. And it's a very exciting time, and I feel that we're heading towards success if we continue this type of collaboration that we're seeing now.
Angus, the Minister of the Environment, was very instrumental in actually causing us to be able to make this a reality. Would you just call his name for us so we can give him a little thanks?
It's Simon Steele, our good friend Simon Steele, who serves as Minister for Environment.
Yeah, he was very sympathetic to this long delay that we had, and he really put some things into, put some wheels into motion so that we could actually complete this pavilion, and we're really thankful that he did.
I think it's been implied before that we have, of course, been to Venice before. Grenada's no stranger. From a exploratory trip in 2013, we've shown since at the Biennale d'Arte in 2015, 2017, 2019. And so while this was going to be the year for the Art Biennale again, of course, everything was shifted due to COVID, which I think invariably will become part of the conversation itself. The curator for the entire Biennale, Hashim Sarkis, of course, had the theme of how will we live together, and it's a timely question, and of course, especially for this Biennale d'Architettura, how will we live together now over the past year, but especially going forward. I think that one of the hallmarks of showing at the Biennale before is the potential to collaborate, the potential to cooperate with other artists, other architects, other art facilitators in different countries, because of course, while it is important that Grenada as a Caribbean country is contributing to the conversation, we have a place at the table in this international arena. We're also drawing people towards the island. We've had Italian collaborators that have come to Grenada as a result of our exposure in Italy. And we are looking forward to continuing to expand that network, because more so than just a place at the table, we are contributing to that global conversation in a way that only Grenada can, and I would extend it to the region in a way that only the Caribbean can. As Grenada is one of the few countries to arrive in Venice so regularly. And so with all of that, we are, as it's said over and over again here, growing from strength to strength. And hopefully this year we're looking for a good representation, even though it will be a little modified, a little different. We're excited about it.
Yes, I have to say that the delay actually gave us the opportunity to expand what we are showing, because originally it was just going to be the House of Parliament video and some other ideas that Bryan had about restoration of the city. But that year-long delay gave Bryan a chance to really think about, and Dr. Friday as well, gave them a chance to really think about what is most essential. And hitting on that most essential living aspect, the carénage needs attention. And so
hello, I'm Stefano Tornieri by Babau Bureau from Venice. Me with Massimo Triches and Marco Ballarin are the curator of the Grenada Pavilion. This is the first participation for Grenada in the Venice Architecture Biennale, so we are excited to be part of the team. Another country is now part of the Venice Biennale, which is the biggest event dedicated to architecture in the world. This is a great opportunity, so thank you to the Commissioner, Susan Main, and thank you to everyone involved in this effort.
Ciao, sono Marco Ballarin di Babau Bureau, studio fondato a Venezia con Massimo Triches e Stefano Tornieri, e questo grande momento, grande avvenimento di questa Biennale in questa epoca così particolare per tutti è un momento speciale perché possiamo in un qualche modo ritrovarci, riavvicinarci nonostante la distanza tra Grenada e Venezia.
Hi everybody, I'm Massimo Triches from the Venetian Architectural Office Babau Bureau. With my partners, Marco Ballarin and Stefano Tornieri, we are the curators of the Grenada National Pavilion here at Biennale di Venezia. And we are here waiting for you and really excited and pleased to hosting you here in Venice. So I hope to see you really soon here in Biennale and starting to live another time all together.
I guess one of the things that I look at the participation in the Biennale as is that it gives us an opportunity to voice our vision, to work on that project, to finish it, so that it doesn't just stay in our mind as a pipe dream, but that we actually start to take steps and take one step at a time to actualize it, to make it a reality. And that is what we want. We don't want this to just be a dream, pie in the sky, someday we'll do this. We want it to happen. And, you know, we encourage all of those who are listening and watching to keep an eye on us, join us, and make sure that we make it happen. So there's some people we need to thank. The National Lottery Authority in Grenada has become our main sponsor through the Ministry of Culture. And without them, we would not have been able to do this. There are many people who are giving their time voluntarily. If you go to our website, grenadavenice.org, you will see a listing of all of those people who have contributed. We have to say a special thanks to Luisa Flora, who is our person on the ground, our angel on the ground in Venice, who's coordinating getting the pavilion set up, and our curators there. Some of the people that you might not even think of who've contributed. The cousin of Bryan Bullen is Eddie Bullen, very famous in Canada and in the world as a composer and a pianist. And he actually wrote and performed the background music for the video that's in the pavilion. I just take a little pride in the fact that I went to school with Eddie. It shows that we're both very young. So I just want to thank all of you. Oh, we have to mention too, as far as the building itself of the House of Parliament, other countries helped us to build that. Mexico contributed, United Arab Emirates contributed, and we just have to be so thankful for their contributions, because it's been contributions without strings. And that means so much to us, because it means that we can shape our own destiny and our own future and tell our own stories. So again, thank each of you for being here today. We hope you get a chance to physically visit the pavilion. As I said, go to the website, you'll see the location and the hours. It's grenadavenice.org. And so Asher, Irina, Bryan, Dr. Friday, thank you so much for your participation today. And welcome to the Grenada Pavilion.